Hello, this is my video on initiatives and referendums in the Arizona Constitution. My name is Jesse Spangler, and we'll start with the basic definitions of an initiative. And that is the process where citizens can come up with and propose new laws or amendments to the Constitution, and they go directly to the voters to approve or reject. Referendum is a process where voters can a legislation passes law and voters can approve or reject that law. And it's pretty straightforward, and it's something that Arizona put in its constitution that makes they're very powerful tools of direct democracy to give the citizens have more say. How they are created, how initiatives and referendums are created. You have to form a political committee um, and register it with the Arizona Secretary of State to file an application for a serial number. This application has to have what the proposed text, what it's going to say, all that, with the serial number. Then you draft a petition. Um, the petition forms are provided by the Secretary of State. They have to include the full text of the law and um, have a clear title and summary of what's going on. Then you have to circulate petitions. You have to get petitions out there and gather signatures. This is probably the hardest part for an initiative. Arizona requires 10% of qualified voters and for a statutory measure and 15% for a constitutional amendment. And for referendum, Arizona requires 5%. There are strict deadlines, 4 months for initiatives before the election and 90 days for referendums. You have to submit the signatures, and then those signatures get verified by the Arizona Secretary of State's office, their election officials. And then if all of that comes together, meshes together, is done the correct way, then it gets placed on the ballot for general the general election. Everyone gets to vote for it. Let's compare and contrast initiatives and referendums. The purpose of an initiative is to propose new laws or constitutional amendments. Very big thing, really helps the citizens feel like they have direct say in what's going on. Referendums are to approve or reject existing laws that are passed by the state legislature. This makes it to where citizens feel that they have a bit of power. Like, oh man, we don't like that. Get that out of here. Oh, we like that, and you guys are thinking about not doing it. No, let's keep. The origin of initiatives are from the citizens directly. The through a petition, right? We talked about that. And then the origins of referendum are through legislature when they pass a law, then it gets challenged by citizens through a petition. The action of an initiative, it creates something new or changes an existing law, like a big change. Usually they're not going to let you pass an initiative just for like, oh, we want to change this one word or two. They want big changes. And the referendum, it they uphold or they strike down, overturn a legislative vote. The timing of the petition, like I said earlier, it has to be at least 4 months before the general election for an initiative, and then for a referendum, it's 90 days after the legislation has passed their law or changed the law or whatever. And then the signature percentage, 10% for statutory initiative, 15% for constitutional, and 5% for a referendum. The pros of initiatives, they give citizens direct power, right? The citizens have a chance to act when they feel that legislation is not addressing certain issues that they feel need to be addressed now. It allows for quicker response from the public on certain issues, and it holds elected officials accountable. By doing that, the elected officials think, "Oh man, like what are the people going to say if I pass this?" All that. Cons for an initiative: if one group has there's a big majority, they can enact laws and that maybe a smaller part of the state does not like, but since maybe 60% of the state all thinks this one way, the other 40% just get stepped on. Um, if laws are too complex for the general voters, they may not understand them. And the implications. They could vote for one thing and there's four other things included in this and they only want the one and those four just are what they end up getting and seeing more of. And like I was just saying, single issue focus, it can lead to just like small patches instead of something getting completely molded into what everybody wants it to be. Pros of referendums: the citizens have the power to they can check legislative power, right? If the legislation passes unpopular law, no, not going to happen. Legislative bodies will consider public opinion more when they are drafting these laws. And if the public knows that something's going on and they can have a say in it, they will be more aware and they may have better discussions about what the legislation is doing. Cons of referendums: legislators might pass a law that they they think that it will be overturned, and they say, "Hey, we don't want to fight about this in legislation. Let's just get it out to the public, and hopefully the public overturns it, and then maybe they don't." If there's misinformation, something might get passed or not overturned that may need to get overturned, and if certain laws are overturned, it can disrupt certain government operations. The initiatives and referendums directly support um, the idea of direct democracy. The Constitution explains that it it champions, right? It's a big word. Supports direct democracy through its provisions for initiatives and referendums, and that is in Article 4, Part 1, Section 1 of the Arizona Constitution. The people reserve the power to propose laws and amendments to the Constitution and enact or reject laws at the polls. So that means the people, they have their direct say on what's going on, and nothing can go past them if they don't want it to, right? You can also sit back and watch and just let things happen and not go through the process to get your signatures and get things done. But there's plenty of people that will do that. The the power to propose laws, if people think something's not getting done, they can directly say, "Hey, we want this, and we're going to vote on it." And so they can directly put things into the Arizona Constitution. So these in referendums, like we have talked about, the power to reject anything or approve anything at the polls. That makes it where citizens can directly uh, veto laws that are passed by legislation if they are not good laws for the state. And these provisions demonstrate that Arizona, from the beginning, has a commitment to direct democracy. They allow citizens to actively participate in the making of laws, and they are a check on the legislative branch of the state. So, thank you for coming for the video, and hopefully you learned something. I learned a lot making this video.